All right, happy Saturday. Oh, it does not feel like a Saturday. It actually feels like a bad Monday, except the stock market is closed. Oh, today is one of my least favorite days out of the week. Sunday is my second least favorite day out of the week. It's bad enough that we had a holiday weekend this past week. But I mean, hey, great Thanksgiving. Ate really good food, spent really good time with family and friends. But we need to get right back rock and rolling because, oh boy. Okay, so going to be talking about Bitcoin a little bit here, as I did in yesterday's video. If you find value in this content, please smash the like button. It's completely free. And subscribe for more. We did pick up a new subscriber along this way. Not really too sure where these videos are gonna take me, but we have a lot of interesting stuff to really talk about. Before we dive into Bitcoin, want to really go over a little bit about spending. So every single year, there's always fears about if consumers are going to be spending more money than the previous year, and you can use this as really a kind of a measuring point in a way, kind of like a moving average. If our economy is doing good or if the economy is doing bad. And I mean, so far, consumers have spent a record of $11.8 billion online on Black Friday, 9.1% increase in the previous year. So obviously people are spending more money this year than they did last year. That is a phenomenal indicator that we are pretty much not in shit's creek, as a lot of people are really saying that we are. Yes, the labor market is deteriorating a little bit. Ironically, a lot of people that are saying that are actually Democrats, and we have a Republican president for the time being. And it's always humorous because during 2022, I mean, yeah, stuff was really bad, such as like the stock market overall. But I mean, house prices were still going up. People were still moving. And I mean, it's conflicting data. But all throughout the previous administration, you had Republican analysts pretty much saying the opposite. So you gotta always look at who the people are and what party they are affiliated to. I am very much leaning to how this story is being played out, and I'm really leaning towards a bullish sentiment. And the reason I'm doing this is because I mean, okay, sure, the labor market could be deteriorating, but people are still spending money on the economy, which means the earnings that we just saw had record level earnings. Why did stocks go down in the last week and a half? Because of fear. It's utter fear that's just driving this down. Fear ended up driving the major index down. Fear drove all the major indexes down. Holy crap. I actually haven't even looked at the Russell very recently. You're seeing practically a V-shaped recovery on all the major indexes. Bitcoin, we are beginning. Although yesterday was a little bit... Talking to a couple of my friends yesterday, very much big crypto bulls. They were a little... Oh, excuse me. Oh man, little burpy Saturday. They were a little nervous with pretty much this day right here on how we basically pretty much pushed all the way to 93, but we ended up closing right above 90. Now I argue and I say, hey, that's bullish. We are still above 90K. Very important that we hold Bitcoin above 90K for going into Monday. If we are holding 90K on Bitcoin going into Monday, Bitcoin follows the NASDAQ, and that means the NASDAQ is going to be strong all next week. So, very important that we see pretty much like an upward recovery on Bitcoin. Obviously not a full recovery to 100K just so easily, but definitely leading into the end of December. we really have to get above the 100K or as close to 100K as possible on Bitcoin. That means the NASDAQ is strong. And if the NASDAQ is strong, that means, honestly, we very much could be done with this fearful dip. It was obviously a buy the dip opportunity. I myself, if you've seen my past couple of videos, I ended up deploying a lot of money into the market. I nearly bought close to $30,000 worth of stock. Not on margin, cash. I have never traded on margin, and I really don't believe in it because I don't believe in taking out debt to basically make investments. And that's essentially what margin is. You can hear stories from people saying they have made life-changing money on margins, but a lot of the times those people that tell you, hey, they made life-changing money, once they get into a bearish market, yeah, life-changing money is a lot of times is not there anymore for those people. So that's really one crappy thing about margin, but for my ideology, I'd honestly rather do short-term options than do trading on margin. But this past week, I was buying the dip heavily, so I ended up deploying a lot of capital, doing a public profile account challenge too, but going to be just really talking more so about the market in this video, and this video is going to be relatively shorter compared to my previous ones. But going into this week, we could very well continue to, I mean, hell, we could very well be at all-time highs potentially this week. But by the end of this week, we could very well be at all-time highs on SPY. You're talking we are like less than 1% away from all-time highs. Give me a break. We could be at all-time highs this week. We could bust through all-time highs this week. And going into Federal Reserve Week, we could be rallying, or we could have a Santa Claus rally. What is going to happen in January is going to be the real deal. It's going to be a make or break situation. But here's the thing, and this is what a lot of people forget. Hypothetically, if all stocks recover into Christmas, so we have Palantir get back above their all-time highs, and they break through their all-time highs, right? Same thing with everything. All the stocks that I've been covering, SoFi, AMD, Palantir, Robinhood, Meta. Honest is really a different story. I may actually be buying more Honest this coming week, to be honest. No pun intended. However, if we go ahead and just go on a bullish rally, and let's say in January, we have another buy the dip opportunity, or maybe not January, maybe February or March, are these stocks going to fall to what they did before? Like, if hypothetically, if Palantir by, let's say, February is 200, call it even, $250. Well, Palantir ended up selling off by 20. Oh, wow. They made it all the way down to 28%. Let's go ahead and call it 30% nice and even. So Palantir made it all the way down by 30%, give or take, right? For this little buy the dip opportunity. Well, hypothetically, if Palantir was at 250 and they went down by 30%, my average on Palantir right now on my Webull account, my public profile, my average is, I believe, like 150, 158. Palantir is still above my average. Now, would this be a buy the dip opportunity if something were to happen in February? Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we can get AMD below $200 again, whoo-wee! Oh, that would be phenomenal. My personal opinion is I'm really liking Bitcoin above 90 grand. And as long as Bitcoin finishes today above 90K, and we also finish tomorrow above 90K, we could very well have a really good week. Next week, this coming week, can be really good. And on top of it, if the Federal Reserve comes out, gives us a rate cut, and is dovish, bullish, we could have a very big Santa Claus rally, in my opinion. Not a financial advisor, but I've seen this game play out over the last several years now, and it follows a emerging pattern. My whole fear ideology, if we rally into Christmas, is really going to be probably around February or maybe March. January, we could very much rally even further, because a lot of people that have taken tax loss harvesting in December, they're going to be looking to buy into stocks around January, so that can go ahead and push up the market like we had earlier this year. Probably around the anniversary of Liberation Day, which ironically the Supreme Court is going to be delivering their final decision about the tariffs. And if they go ahead and say, hey, Donald Trump, President Trump, you have supreme executive power to do tariffs, maybe President Trump is going to do more tariffs for Liberation Day 2.0. Or I should say maybe Liberation Day 3.0. 2018 was kind of the tariff war as well too. But if you understand where I'm going with this, anything is possible, and the buy the dip opportunity just gets pushed down the line, because there's always going to be a buy the dip opportunity in the stock market. Look back in history. Always buy the dip opportunity. So at that point, the stocks that I am holding on my account, I'm just going to leave them alone. I'm invested into SoFi very much, AMD very much, Palantir, Robinhood, Meta, Honest. I may add as Honest as really a risk play. But to really go ahead and go on a closing note here, I am starting to really look at one stock that is gaining a lot of attention, and it is Adobe. A lot of other YouTubers are talking about this stock. A lot have already opened positions into this stock. And Adobe, I use all the time. They're growing revenue like crazy, and their sales are very much up for Black Friday. They're below all the moving averages. Their stock price is just like trading as we basically pretty much have a bottom back during COVID. And then we retested a bottom back in 2022. And we are like very much near that same level of bottom. But if you notice a trend, we got down to 255 during COVID low. I really should map out some stuff here. So we got down COVID low. And then we also created a 2022 bottom, which is about 10% higher. And now, ironically, we're roughly around maybe 15-20% higher on this new bottom. The stock goes through these cycles, and they go through a massive like buy the dip opportunity and a massive moneymaker where you can double up on your money. I've talked to a couple friends that are very much heavily in the stock market, and I asked them about Adobe. Their responses to me is the same as somebody buying Meta shares. The stock is a very high-priced stock. A lot of times people get turned off by how much a share is. Yes, one share of Adobe is $320. But if Adobe was $32, you would... So if I were to buy 10 shares of Adobe, $3,200 for 10 shares. If I were to buy Adobe at $32, I would have 100 shares. if I were to buy Adobe at $3.20, I have 1,000 shares. Psychologically, people get turned off by the number of shares. Oh, I don't own that I don't own that many shares. It's not a good buy. That's bullshit. That is honestly a terrible mentality. I own 8 shares of Meta on my profile. 8 shares of Meta at an average of just under $600. Well, when Meta goes back to all-time highs and goes to $1,000, my $6,000 like position turns into 8 and 10,000. No, it turns into 8,000. $8,000. I make literally a 30 to 40% position size. So if Adobe, my let's say 10 shares of Adobe at $320, if Adobe goes back to 640, I make 100%. And if Adobe goes to all-time highs, I make even more. And if Adobe surpasses all-time highs, I make even more. The number of shares is a psychological turnoff for people. But the growing revenue on this company says something different. So I'm going to be talking about Adobe a lot probably in this coming week. I'm not really dead set yet on buying Adobe. I got to really do some more research on it. But Adobe, in my opinion, for me, very well might be a good buy in the moving into this week. Because looking at everything from a technical analysis and a fundamental analysis, this stock is undervalued a lot. Just like how Meta is undervalued, even at $647. I was buying Meta down here, below 600. So for my average of 8 shares of $586, I don't care that I own 8 shares. I care that Meta is going to go back to all-time highs and I'm going to make money. That's all. It doesn't matter if you have 5 shares. It doesn't matter if you have 50 shares. Money is money. Profits is profits. That's all that matters. So Adobe, we're going to be spending some time talking about Adobe. I'm going to wrap this video up here. Hopefully you all have a great weekend. Please subscribe for future content and later.